Alright, gang, we are back. This is gonna be the tier 2 training, kind of like tier 2 slash 3, um, just because there are only 3 bags. Um, and, I mean, I don't know how to describe it anyway. It's gonna be like kind of like a tier 2, like tier 2 plus. Alright, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, almost like that. And then the next one will kind of be a tier 3 slash 4 because, yeah, I'll explain why on that video. But anyway, so we're going to be utilizing the AFAC, the Advanced First Aid Kit, right? We have a few more sections as compared to the IFAC, right? One being pharmaceutical and I think airway. This one's just breathing. So, but yeah, this is the packing list for this one. This one can treat pretty much a couple wounded to sustain long enough for a corpsman or platoon medic or pararescue, whatever the case may be, right? So we have two cat tourniquets, two SAM splints, a pulse ox, two NCD kits, needle chest decompression, two chest seals, three pressure bandage, three emergency trauma, five elastic wrap, and we have one Penthrox, two paracetamol packs, a pocket BVM, two nasopharyngeals, and one oropharyngeal, which is basically a needle tube, just sits in the throat. And then, as for pharmaceuticals, we have one naloxone nasal spray, which is an OD medication. It counteracts the effects of an overdose. Um, you have two 16 gauge IV needles, two units of plasma, um, one midazolam auto-injector, which is anti-seizure, and you have two fent lozenges. Um, so yeah, it's a little dive into some pharmacy, um, but it's not overbearing. Like this kit by itself, because what's going to happen, right? The reason why there's not a crap load of bandages and stuff and chest seals is because we have to take into account everyone will be carrying an IFAC, right? Like you're supposed to. You already have two chest seals. You already have a bunch of bandages to sustain yourself. You already have chest seals, TKs. You already have a breathing device. So we're not gonna you're already gonna use that person's IFAC, so you're gonna use their supplies. You know what I'm saying? So this one just gives you extra, which is the whole point of it. And the person who's typically going to carry this is going to be your medic, your element leader, squad leader, team leader, whatever the case may be, right? Because again, this is CLS. So yeah. Anyway, without further ado, I'm not gonna go over the March protocol. You can watch the last video for that, or you could look it up on Google. We're just gonna jump right into it and do our casualty intervention. So I'm personally just gonna go with a priority GSW. I find it to be the easiest and most straightforward to work on. Cool. So we have ×1. I saw the dude go down. Cool. And boom. So as I'm doing my sweep, I see he has a large bolt in there, two there, one there, and one there. So off rip, right? We're gonna say we used his IFAC, right? That's all we're gonna be using. So unpack everything, make sure it's good to go. Cool. All right. So off rip, I'm going to apply a tourniquet. Boom, boom. And since I am technically the medic, right, in this case, or the team leader, whatever, I'm going to unpack the AFAC as well. Boom, I have extra tourniquets, right? So, boom. 3 limbs mitigated. Now we're moving on to the the chest region, the torso. So, all right, great, wonderful. Now from here, we've just taken care of the first step in March, right, which is massive hemorrhaging. So then moving on to the airway, I see he's slightly cyanotic. We're going to check the airway. Cool, airway is clear, so I'm going to go ahead and insert my, well, since I am running the AFAC, I'm going to unpack that. I'm going to insert an OPA. Boom. It's just a larger tube, sits in the throat as compared to the nose, so therefore the intake will be a lot better. Now I've taken care of the airway section, I'm moving on to the respiratory section, right? M-A-R, right? So now we're on respiration. This one I'm going to inspect his chest, right? Make sure there's rise and fall observed. Nothing wrong. Cool beans. Chest rise and fall observed. Next thing, since he does have 2 traumas to the torso, I'm going to do our chest seal, right? We're going to prevent a pneumothorax from happening before, obviously it happens. I'm going to update his triage to delayed because he is unconscious and he does have severe trauma, or not severe trauma, but he has, decent trauma. So now from here, after taking care of the respiration aspect, we're going to move on to circulation, right? The C. We're going to go ahead and check his cap refill. Boom. I see that he needs fluids, right? And with this, I'm going to... Nope, don't want that. My bad. Gonna feel for a pulse. So he has a solid carotid. It's not too fast. Definitely not slow, not weak. So we're good to go on that. For this one, right? Now we need to go ahead and unpack. We're just gonna go ahead and unpack everything for this, right? And boom. So now from here, right? Since none of the arms and one leg is taken up, I only have one other option for an IV, right? We're going to stick the 16 gauge through the leg, right? It's either that or I treat one of these wounds and take more time doing that to then administer an IV. And even then, there will be a chance of it failing to find a vein. That's why I'm doing this instead. So now we're going to go ahead and transfuse a unit of blood. I heard that he puked or coughed up something. So his airway is, not the greatest. But he's definitely not dead. So from there, we've taken care of circulation, right? We're feeding him some plasma. And other than that, that's really all we can do for this guy for now. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up his wounds. We're going to go ahead and treat all the tourniquet wounds. This is just the MISC section that we're on now, which would be head injury, but there is no head injury with ACM, so we're working on this. Boop. Just going to wrap it all up. Then we're going to use our elastic to wrap up bandaged stuff, and he'll basically be good to go, right? Cool. Alright. So from there, he's almost dry on that. I'm going to go ahead and transfuse another unit of plasma. Cool. I'm not too worried about whatever. Cool. Slightly cyanotic, so we're going to, check that airway again. Airway is obstructed, so we're going to remove the OPA. I want to do head turning. Medical suction is required. That's wonderful. So I'm just going to run over here real quick. The other option, if you're in a pinch, is really just putting him in the recovery position instead of, getting a EDSB if you don't have that or your medic's caught up doing something else. So from here, what I want to do, use that suction bag. We'll just insert an NPA this time since we use the Gadel tube, right? And then from there, we're just going to go ahead and establish recovery position. because everything else is treated. So I guess personally, what I should have done was put him in recovery and then packed up these wounds, but whatever. So yeah, from here, the only thing I could really do at this point is, hey, so and so's down. We you know, need a medic to check him out. So cool, normal flow, we're good to go. Um, as you can see, there is beautiful flow because of how quickly it's going down with the 16 gauge. I want to feel that pulse again. It's a little fast. So yeah. All right, cool. Guns back in the fight, and that's really about it, right? Um, so yeah, as far as CLS goes, that's really all you can do is administer some fluid. In this case, being plasma, right? Because we don't use saline in ACM. Um, yeah. So yeah, I mean, really all you can do for this casualty is call over the medic. Oh, and look at that, he got up. See, so see, it's almost like I know what I'm talking about. So in this case, medic would check him out more than likely. I mean, you do have a pulse ox, but as we could see, I mean, you can't put a pulse ox on a fucking toe, and you know, you have the tourniqueted arms, so pulse ox is out of the question. But this is beautiful. It monitors the SpO2 and the his beats per minute, um, and it'll show it like right around here, in light blue lettering. It's pretty good. But since he is laying down though, right, and I forget the terminology, right, but if he's just laying on his back or if he's sitting down, nope, not that one. Yeah. If the patient is sitting down like this, right, or they are on their back like this, you can give them a fent lozenge or a fent lollipop, and that'll take away that pain over time. So it's pretty good. And then since this is done, I mean, I could check his cap refill. All right, cool. We don't need to do anything. We could pluck the IV. I'm just doing this for my sake, in an actual combat environment. Again, in game. I just want to clarify this. You wouldn't take stuff off of the casualty, right? A medic would make that determination. But as the combat lifesaver in this case, you know, say I'm a squad lead, this is pretty much all I would have done was TQ, 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 patch up the chest, manage the airway, and then chest seal, run a line. If his cap refill required it, which in this case it did, and then just recovery position and yeah, so same deal, just a couple extra things, just fluids and pain man, and then yeah. Anyway, any questions, comments, concerns, you know, feel free to let me know, and I'll go ahead and do the basically advanced combat lifesaver or medic slash corpsman.